Hello, story lovers! Welcome to Nana's Fairy Tales, where we share amazing and interesting stories. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we upload another enchanting tale.
Today, I want to tell you another hilarious story. It is the story of Uzo, the food drum. In a little community tucked in the heart of serene forest and calming waters, there was a girl called Uzo. Uzo is a very greedy girl that likes eating everything she sees. She's the last child of her parents and was so pampered by them, by both her parents and her siblings. When given food to share with her siblings, Uzo would eat up hers fast and begin to cry that her siblings shared theirs with her. They would all give her because they loved her so much. But Uzo continued like this, and this attitude of hers began to disgust her siblings. They refused sharing their food with her whenever she eats up hers fast, and this would make Uzo scream and cry so loud. Uzo cannot see anything called food and leave it alone. Anything edible, wherever it be, once Uzo sees it, it's gone for good. As she grew older, her appetite for food grew bigger and bigger. She became extremely fat and people called her the food drum. Uzo still doesn't care. Whenever she sees food, she will surely eat. Nothing edible passes her by. One day, Uzo went to her mom's room where she stored sweets in a bottle. Uzo couldn't get her eyes off the sweets. She shook the bottle and the sweets came out of it. She quickly put it in her mouth. She did this over and over, and out of greed, she decided to put her hand inside the bottle and bring out tons of them before someone catches her. She put her hand inside the bottle and picked a handful of sweets. As she wanted to remove her hand got stuck in the bottle. She tried to no avail to bring out her hand from the bottle. The more she tried, the harder it was for her to pull her hand out. She got tired and began to scream. She started crying and her siblings ran into the room and saw the greedy thief there. They laughed at her and made faces at her, and this made her cry even more. Their mother entered the room and helped her get her hand out of the bottle. Her mother scolded her and she cried even more. Uzo, though she begs a lot, was a very stingy girl. She shared none of her snacks or food with anybody. Even when she has tons of them, she would eat it all alone. If any of her siblings begged her for some of her snacks or food, she would cry and shout, "No, it won't be enough for me." Her siblings planned to pay her back in her own coins. They will wait for her to finish her food first before eating theirs. And when she begs any of them, they will shout, "No, it won't be enough for me." Every one of her siblings did this every single time she begs them for food, and this made her cry. Each time she cries, they will laugh at her, but this didn't change Uzo. In fact, she became more greedy and developed even greater appetite. One day, during sports and games time in their school, she was to represent her team in a race called egg race. They were to carry an egg in a spoon and run with it. Uzo held hers, and at the count of 3, they all took off running. Uzo didn't even run halfway. She fell with her egg, and instead of getting up and trying to see the way she could leave the egg and continue her race, she sat there and began to eat the egg. Her team waited for her to return, but they didn't see her. They went in search of her and saw her at a corner eating the egg as though she has not eaten in ages. They were so angry and shouted at her. They began to call her Uzo, the food drum. None of their hurtful words got to her. She just stood, went to where her water bottle was, and drank water to wash down the egg. Everyone has said their bits about Uzo's insatiable appetite, but she's not bothered. One fateful day, as she was returning from school all alone, she saw some eggs, biscuits, and sweets in a plate laid by the roadside. Without a second thought, Uzo sat there and ate up all that was in the plate as though they were meant for her. When she got home, her parents and siblings noticed something odd about her. She was misbehaving. When she's asked to sweep the compound, instead of getting a broom, Uzo would get a machete. When asked to fetch water, she would either carry a sack or a basket. Her parents became worried and confused. They couldn't wrap their head around what was going on. They woke up one morning and couldn't find her in her room. They searched the whole village for her, and later that day, they saw her walking aimlessly in the market. Her parents knew that something was really wrong. They took her to a herbalist. Immediately the herbalist saw her, he began to laugh. Her parents watched in amazement. The herbalist told her parents that she had eaten something meant for the gods. The sacrifice was meant to appease the gods in order to cure a mentally ill man. So when Uzo took what was meant for the gods, she inherited the mental illness of the man. The herbalist told Uzo's parents what to do so that their child would be forgiven and made free. They did exactly as they were told, and gradually, Uzo returned to her senses. Uzo was taken to her grandmother's house so that she could live with her. Uzo stayed there and for some time minimized her obsession over food. Her parents were glad and thought she had changed. Little did they know that disaster is about to strike. It happened one fateful day. As her grandmother went to the market and Uzo was all alone by herself in the house, she saw some pieces of fish in a plate under her grandmother's bed. She brought it out and ate some of it. She wasn't okay. She realized something was odd about the taste of the fish, but she took another one anyway, and yet another one. Then she began to feel something move all over her body. The more it moved, the more painful it was. She cried and cried, and neighbors gathered. They saw her convulsing on the ground. They took her immediately to the hospital and got the doctor to attend to her. The doctor checked her system and said that she has eaten a large volume of poison. Some anti-poisons were administered to her and she was revived. It was realized that she ate the poisoned fish her grandmother was using as a bait to kill rats in her room. When Uzo was discharged from the hospital and fully recovered, knowing that she nearly died, she vowed never to be the food drum again, to curtail her appetite and keep it in check. Ever since then, Uzo repented and lived normal like every other responsible and reasonable child. She learned the hard way that contentment is a virtue she must have in order to live long and stay away from trouble. So this is another story to teach you to always be contented with what you have. Thanks for listening. I hope you had an amazing time listening to this story. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notification bell, for we have lots of amazing stories yet to be told. Don't forget to come around. Till then, see you.